Most cowboys thought they had seen danger. They had faced broncs that bucked like thunder, longhorns that charged without warning, and storms that peeled roofs off barns. But nothing, not a single thing in all the high plains, prepared them for the black stallion that roamed Hawthorne Valley, a horse no cowboy alive could get within 10 feet of. A horse that broke fences like matchsticks. A horse that moved with the fury of a storm looking for someone to blame. And yet one day, before anyone understood what was happening, that same beast bowed its head to a quiet native girl who walked barefoot through the dust. No one could explain it. Not the ranch hands, not the sheriff, not even Cole Mercer, the best horseman in 5 counties. All they knew was the valley had changed, and something wild had settled into the land like a warning waiting to be heard. Cole smelled trouble before he even reached the ranch. The afternoon sun hung low, painting the horizon with a heavy red glow, and the whole place felt too quiet, not peaceful, not calm, just tight, as if the earth itself held its breath. Ranch hands moved around the corral with jumpy steps. They kept glancing toward the far paddock, where broken rails lay piled in a messy heap. Hoofprints dug deep into the dry ground, circling the ranch like a map of fear. One feeding trough lay crushed, twisted under a force strong enough to snap oak. "Glad you came," Jesse Hawthorne said, meeting Cole near the barn. His hat sat low, and worry lined his jaw. "I wouldn't have called you unless it was bad." Cole swung down from his horse and scanned the damage. "Looks like something tore half the ranch apart." "Not something," Jesse pointed to the far pen. "Someone." Cole raised a brow. "A man did all this?" Quote, "Not a man," Jesse muttered. "A horse." Cole didn't argue. Jesse wouldn't exaggerate, not about something like this. Cole followed him toward the paddock, but each step made the air feel heavier. His instincts scratched at him like thorns. He had broken wild mustangs his whole life, but something here felt different, almost wrong. And when he saw the stallion, he understood why. The horse stood in the center of the pen, like a piece of night carved into the shape of muscle, coal black from mane to tail, with shoulders broad enough to block the sun. He didn't fidget or snort or stomp. He just stood there, still as stone, watching them. But it was the eyes that stopped Cole mid-step. Sharp, intelligent, unsettling. The horse wasn't scared. He wasn't confused. He was calculating. "That's him," Jesse whispered. "Spirit Walker. At least, that's what some of the red feather folks call him." Cole stepped closer. The stallion mirrored the movement with a single sideways shift, smooth and controlled. Not backing away, not challenging, studying. A low rumble rolled from the horse's chest, deep enough to vibrate through the ground. Riley Morgan jogged over, holding his bruised arm against his ribs. "Don't get too close," he warned. "I tried this morning. Brought apples, water, everything. He nearly sent me flying." A ranch hand nearby lifted his shirt to show a large purple bruise. "Got this 2 days ago. Thought I was fast." "Turns out he's faster." Cole didn't look away from the stallion. "That's not fear," he said quietly. "That's strategy." The horse slammed a hoof into the rail. With such force, the entire fence shuddered. Cole stepped back, dust swirling around his boots. "That's the 3rd rail he cracked today," Riley muttered. Before Cole could study the stallion again, the ranch fell silent. Too silent. Then a small figure slipped through the side gate. A girl no older than 11, barefoot, soft-spoken. Her long black hair fell neatly down her back. She didn't look scared. She didn't even hesitate. She walked into the paddock the way someone walks toward a friend. Ayana Red Feather. Margaret gasped. "Sweetheart, get out of there." Cole lunged to stop her, but Jesse grabbed his arm. "If we move fast, we'll spook the horse." Ayana kept going. Spirit Walker turned. The stallion who had thrown grown men aside, who had smashed fences and attacked feeding troughs, did not rear, he did not charge, he did not stamp the ground. He softened. His ears eased forward. The tight muscles along his neck relaxed. His breathing slowed like someone lifting a heavy weight off his back. Ayana lifted her hand, not reaching, just offering. And the wildest creature in the high plains stepped toward her with slow, careful movements, lowering his head until his muzzle hovered just above her palm. The entire ranch held its breath. Cole felt something inside him twist, shock, awe, and a sting of humbled pride. Ayana whispered, "He's not dangerous. He's scared." The words settled over the corral like truth spoken through the wind. And right then, Cole Mercer knew his simple job had just become something far bigger, something older than any cowboy trick he had learned. Something only the girls seemed to understand. Part 2. The next morning broke colder than expected, the kind of sharp dawn that made breath hang in the air like smoke. Cole sat at the Hawthorne kitchen table, wrapping chilled fingers around a cup of coffee when the crunch of gravel drifted through the open window. Jesse leaned in to look outside. "Red feather truck," he muttered. "They're here for the girl." Cole followed him out to the porch. A faded maroon vehicle rolled to a stop, engine clicking as it cooled. Elder Nathan Redfeather stepped out slowly. His wooden cane, decorated with beads and feathers, tapped softly against the dirt. Age lined his face, but his eyes held a steady strength that made even seasoned cowboys straighten their backs. "Ayana," he called gently. The girl emerged from the barn, brushing hay from her shirt. She walked toward Nathan without fear, without shame, without apology. Jesse stepped forward, waving a hand as if to explain. "She wandered into the paddock on her own yesterday. Could have been hurt. We didn't know what she—" Nathan raised a hand. "It is I who should apologize. She follows the wind more than rules. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." But his voice trailed off as his gaze drifted toward the paddock. Spirit Walker stood there, still as sunrise, watching them. Nathan stared for a long moment, and a tremor rippled across his features. "So it is true," he whispered. "I prayed it would not be." Cole frowned. "You know this horse?" Nathan didn't look away. "One does not know a spirit horse. One recognizes it." Jesse crossed his arms with a frustrated sigh. "With respect, Elder, that animal has torn up half my ranch. People are scared. We can't run a place with a horse like that roaming around." Nathan stepped closer to the fence. "He is not here by accident." Cole felt a chill crawl down his spine. Later that morning, Nathan sat with Ayana and a small group of ranch hands on the porch while the sun climbed over the fields. Cole stayed quiet, listening. "Spirit horses appear when the land is troubled," Nathan said. "They carry warnings they cannot be broken by ropes or force. They choose who may approach, and they choose with wisdom older than all of us." Ayana listened without blinking, her small hands resting lightly on her knees. Cole noticed she kept tapping a gentle rhythm with her fingers, as if hearing something no one else could. Before anyone could ask more, yelling erupted by the pine line. "The sheriff's coming!" a ranch hand shouted. Minutes later, Sheriff Tom Granger's truck rumbled into the yard. He stepped out stiffly, dust thick on his boots, frustration already tightening his jaw. "Jesse, I received a report," he said. "Property damage. Dangerous animal. Broken fences for the third day in a row. If this continues, I'll have to issue a safety order." Jesse stiffened. "We're handling it." Granger looked at the paddock. Spirit Walker stared back, unflinching. The sheriff narrowed his eyes. "If that horse hurts someone, state law says he gets put down. I won't have a tragedy on my hands." Ayana's breath hitched. Spirit Walker lifted his head, sensing her fear. Nathan stepped forward. "Do not make a choice you cannot undo." Granger wasn't swayed. "My hands are tied." He left with a promise to return, and a kill order hanging over the ranch like a storm cloud. That night the ranch fell quiet, too quiet. Cole lay awake on the Hawthorns, worn sofa, staring at the dark ceiling. He replayed the stallion's eyes, the pacing, the broken fences, the way he circled the paddock like someone guarding a secret instead of planning an escape. Spirit Walker wasn't running away from something. He was trying to warn them. Cole sat up slowly as a truth settled over him. "I need answers," he muttered. At first light, he stepped outside. The sky was barely touched with morning gold when he saw Spirit Walker waiting by the fence, breath curling into the cold air. Ayana approached from the barn at the same moment, as if she had always known Cole would be there. She didn't smile, she simply nodded. "We go," she said. "He will show us." Spirit Walker turned and began walking along the fence line. Not fast, not wild, steady, guiding. Cole followed alongside Ayana. Every few steps, the stallion looked back as if making sure they understood. When the land began to slope upward toward rougher ground, Ayana knelt and touched the earth. She ran her fingers along crushed clay, bent grass, and dirt that looked strangely unsettled. Cole scanned the area. At first it seemed like nothing more than a patch of churned mud. Then he stopped cold. "These aren't animal tracks," he said. "These are machines." Heavy tire marks overlapped in deep grooves, the kind made by industrial rigs. The mud was still dark and damp despite the dry season. Ayana brushed soil aside until something bright flashed under the dirt. A thin orange stake. Cole picked it up, turning it over in his hand. "This is for surveying, mining, drilling, something they shouldn't be doing out here." Ayana didn't look surprised. They came without asking the land. Spirit Walker stepped forward and pawed the ground again, harder this time. His muscles tensed along his shoulders. "He remembers," Ayana whispered. "Remembers what?" But before she could answer, Spirit Walker walked ahead to a thick patch of brush and let out a low, trembling sound. Ayana ran toward it, pushing branches aside. Cole heard her gasp before he reached her. There, huddled in the shadows, was a young Mustang filly. Mud caked her coat, fear clouded her eyes, and her front leg, swollen, trembling, barely holding her weight, told the rest of the story. Spirit Walker didn't move. He stood like a fortress behind them, his breath harsh with fear that wasn't for himself. Ayana fell to her knees. "Whisper," she murmured. Is this filly?" Cole swallowed hard. He wasn't attacking us. He was trying to bring us here. When Cole lifted Whisper's injured leg, he found the truth buried beneath the mud. A steel trap. Illegal, cruel, set to scare wildlife away from mining sites. Anger boiled through him. "He freed her," Cole said. "He fought the trap and came to us because he couldn't help her alone." Ayana stroked Whisper's neck with soft, soothing hands. He needed someone who listens. Together, they wrapped the filly's leg. Spirit Walker lowered his head, touching the filly's back in a trembling gesture that broke Cole's heart in a way nothing in his life ever had. But before they could lead Whisper back to the ranch, branches snapped behind them. A rifle cocked. "Well, now," a voice drawled, sharp as broken glass. "Looks like I ain't the only one hunting today." Cole turned slowly. Caleb Ortiz stepped out of the trees with a rifle in hand and a grin that didn't reach his eyes. And Spirit Walker's fury rose like a storm ready to break. Part 3. Caleb Ortiz stepped from the trees with the slow swagger of a man who liked being feared. His rifle hung loose in his hands, but the grin on his face told Cole he was ready to use it. Ayana edged closer to Whisper. Spirit Walker moved even faster. One shift of his massive frame placed him squarely between the girl and the gunman. "Well now," Caleb said, tilting his head, "ain't this a surprise? Thought I'd find a few stray Mustangs, not a whole welcoming party." Quote. Cole stepped forward, keeping his hands loose, ready. "Put the gun down, Ortiz." Caleb's eyes flicked to Spirit Walker. "Not a chance. That horse right there? He's worth more than half this valley. Folks out of state pay real good money for something wild and rare." "He's not for sale," Cole said. Caleb smirked. "Everything's for sale." Behind him, branches rustled as if even the forest didn't want him there. The wind shifted. Spirit Walker's ears pinned back. Whisper trembled behind Cole's leg. Ayana didn't move. She watched Caleb the way a wolf pup watches fire, fearful but refusing to run. Caleb lifted his rifle a little higher. "Move aside. I ain't here for trouble, just here to finish a job." Cole didn't step aside. "What job?" Caleb tapped the rifle barrel with a lazy rhythm. "Cleaning up the valley. Those miners don't want horses on their work sites. They pay me to keep the land clear." Ayana sucked in a breath. Whisper stumbled backward. Cole felt the anger rise inside him like heat off desert rock. "You set those traps," Cole said. Caleb shrugged. "Horses come here, they get hurt. They run off, that's all." His smile thinned. This filly wasn't supposed to make it. Spirit Walker let out a low roar. It wasn't a whinny. It wasn't a neigh. It was the sound of something breaking inside, a creature meant to run free. Caleb took a half step back. "Relax," he muttered. "It's just a horse." "No," Ayana said softly. "He's a father." The truth in her voice shook Caleb more than the stallion did. He raised the gun again, shaking now but still pointed their way. "Back up," Caleb demanded. "All of you." Cole didn't move. "If you fire that gun, you're not walking out of this valley." Caleb's jaw twitched. Big talk from a cowboy without a weapon. Spirit Walker moved first. The stallion reared, hooves slicing through the air, a furious blast of power that made the ground tremble. Caleb panicked. The gun went off, the bullet flying wild into the branches overhead. Birds exploded from the trees. Ayana dropped to the ground beside Whisper. Cole lunged forward. Caleb stumbled, lost his footing, and the rifle flew from his hands. Spirit Walker charged with such force that Caleb scrambled backward, tripping over his own boots. He ran, crashing through the underbrush, disappearing into the trees like a coyote chased out by something bigger than fear. Only when the forest swallowed him did Spirit Walker finally lower his front hooves. He didn't stomp. He didn't strike. He simply exhaled, long and trembling. Ayana placed her hand on his shoulder. "You protected us," she whispered. Spirit Walker bowed his head. Cole's heart clenched. The stallion wasn't wild. He was wounded. He was defending what mattered. They led Whisper slowly back toward the ranch as the sun dipped into late afternoon. The trail back felt heavier than the trail in. Cole held Whisper steady with one arm. Ayana soothed her with gentle words. Spirit Walker walked tight against her side like a shield made of muscle and stormlight. When Jesse saw them approaching, he ran to meet them. One look at Whisper's leg made him pale. "What happened?" he demanded. Cole told him everything, about the traps, the illegal drilling, Caleb Ortiz. Jesse closed his eyes and swore. "They used my land to sneak into the valley," he said. "Those miners. They lied right to my face." Margaret placed a shaky hand over her mouth. Spirit Walker tried to warn us. The sheriff arrived within the hour. Cole handed him the survey map, the trap, the mining stakes. The sheriff's face darkened with every word. "This is a federal mess," he said, "but I'll handle it." Elder Nathan and several members of the Red Feather tribe arrived soon after. They saw the damaged filly. They saw the broken land. They saw the truth. Nathan placed a hand on Whisper's bandaged leg. "She will heal," he said gently, because she was not abandoned. He looked at Cole with quiet gratitude. He looked at Ayana with something deeper, pride. In the days that followed, the ranch became something it had not been in decades. A place of unity. Ranch hands and tribe members worked side by side, repairing fences, watching for mining crews, guarding the valley through the night. Jesse declared the northern acreage of Hawthorne Ranch a protected zone. Sheriff Granger filed the paperwork himself, ensuring no company could touch the land again. Whisper grew stronger. Ayana sang to her every morning. Spirit Walker stood watch every night. And Cole? He learned something he never expected. He learned to listen. One morning, Cole stood with Ayana near the creek. She rested her hand on the ground, eyes soft. "I used to think I had to break a horse to understand it," Cole said. "Make it listen to me. Make it obey." Ayana smiled gently. "You don't think that anymore." Cole shook his head. "No. Now I think I was the one who needed to be broken open." Ayana closed her journal and looked toward Spirit Walker, who stood at the ridge watching the wind move through the valley. "He chose me," she said, "but he chose you too." "No," Cole answered softly. He trusted you. He trusted both of us, she corrected. Just in different ways. The wind picked up lightly. Spirit Walker lifted his head toward the sky. Whisper trotted beside him on a heeling leg, moving with new confidence. Cole felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not pride. Peace. Ayana rose and placed her hand on the earth. The valley is safe now, she said, because people listened in time. Cole nodded. And because a little girl walked into a corral full of fear and changed everything. Ayana smiled. I didn't change everything. I just heard something no one else could. Cole looked at Spirit Walker, proud, strong, unbroken. A horse? Cole said quietly. Ayana shook her head. A voice, she said. The voice of the land. Spirit Walker turned toward them and nickered softly. And for the first time in a long time, Cole believed it.